the blossomed incense-bearing trees, embroidered from of greenery.
Good evening and welcome to the Cinzi Lavin Show. Our guest this evening is a fellow Holonian, Michael Weddle, and he's going to be playing some guitar for us and singing and talking about his new band called Heavy Weddle and the Bass Cats. Sorry, Heavy Weddle and the Bass Cats. I'm so glad to have you here tonight, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Wonderful.
I'm trying to stay ahead of it all.
Aren't we all? Well, hey, you are originally from Maine.
Nope.
You're from New Hampshire.
I grew up in Hampton Beach through the 60s. Somehow got through that, although many of my friends didn't. And when I turned 50, I moved to Nantasket Beach to become a kid again. And I'm doing pretty good.
Wow. Now, you've had a really, really interesting background, a lot of different things that you've been involved in and worked with. I know one of them is politics. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've always been involved in politics, having grown up in the 60s. The Vietnam War unquestionably was the turbulence of our time. So I was involved in all that. And then I ended up organizing a union when the peace movement ended. And then I ended up on unemployment and living on Beacon Hill. And I met a woman who had this huge loft, and she was very New York City-like. And next thing we know, we're throwing this huge party, and I got all these musicians from the peace movement connection to come perform at the party, and next thing I know, I'm managing a rock and roll band. So I went through the mid-'70s playing rock, as a manager of rock and roll bands, one of which had Tom Schultz of Boston in it at one point.
That is amazing. Yeah. And so you're a self-taught guitarist?
Well, then I didn't play at all. I was organizing other people's stuff, and I kept saying to myself, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. Eventually, in 1980, I bought the nicest guitars I could find, which would force me to learn how to play them. And I began learning, only doing original songs. I never did covers. A few chestnuts from the 60s, like Times They Are Changing, maybe a Donovan song, Crosby, Stills and Nash or something. But for the most part, I always ignored the covers and only wrote my own.
That's wonderful.
And I continue that way.
And you seem to have a very literary bent to your work. I know Kubla Khan is something that you've done some work with.
Now you're forcing me to do that song. I didn't have it on my list. Kubla Khan is unique. It's a poem written by a 17th century, well, 1793, I think he actually composed the poem. And it was called Kubla Khan. And everybody heard about it, but nobody got to see it. And every now and then he would recite it. The only one who really saw it and knew about it was Wordsworth's sister, and she memorized it. Wow. And Southey, Byron, all those guys wanted to publish it, but it never got published. And he died, and the poem came out because she remembered it.
That's fabulous.
And that's how Kubla Khan. So I teamed up with him, and a lot of words are his, but a lot of words are mine.
Well, as artists, we have to adapt work sometimes, especially if we're using someone else's original material.
Yeah, poetry is important in songwriting. I have a collection of antique books dating back to 1800s, and one song I do is called Hear the Poet Sing, and every line of verse is actually a title to a poem written by a poet from that time, except for the chorus, which I wrote.
That's lovely.
And then my dear friend and influence, a guy named Gideon, a very, very close friend. When Tom Schultz quit the rock band, Gideon took his place in the band. And he eventually came here to Hull, and we reconnected after a long time. And I threw his name into the middle of the song, just ahead of Shakespeare and Voltaire and a few others.
Now, when you were in New York City and you had this fabulous salon of different artists,
I stayed there for a little while.
Oh, okay. Well, long enough to...
I was an online stock trader, and I met a girl who was an online stock trader. And I figured, well, I'll go to New York and trade stocks and connect with the scene there. I didn't like it at all. I just wanted to go back to Cambridge. I lived in Cambridge for 20 years. The only thing I liked there was rollerblade dancing in Central Park every weekend.
Well, did you find that the influences of the other artists that you were meeting were something that you were working towards? Was it inspiring to you, or were you kind of pushing against it?
I pretty much have been pushing my own sled. It's hard to influence me. But I suppose musical influences, when everybody was going Beatles and Rolling Stones, I was going Yardbirds. And my favorite American band was the Velvet Underground. Yeah, wherever authority was questioned and creativity was to be born, you would find me peeking around the corner.
Well, there is a great connection between music and being able to influence others. That music kind of flies under the radar. You can do things with songs that you can't necessarily do with words. Did you notice that during your political career that it was a little harder to move people with your words than your music?
From New Hampshire, if I get the band right, maybe I'll go back and run for president as a favorite son and play songs instead of give speeches.
Well, you do
I
have
don't think I can, but who knows?
Well, you do have an impressive political career. You were a state representative.
I served 2 terms, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
When the housing crunch came down and gentrification set in, and people couldn't hold on to their homes, and the elderly couple that had the 2 houses next to them turn into condos, and highest best use put that elderly couple out of they couldn't afford their taxes. There was all kinds of problems like that. So on housing issues, I got so mad I ran and ended up winning. I beat a 5-term incumbent in the primary and the assistant mayor's son in the general election. I stopped playing guitar. I thought I was going to be a rising star in politics, and I was at one point, but that's not me. I gave it up to become a Harvard Square Street musician.
Now that must have been fascinating. I think a lot of people wonder, what is that like? Do a lot of people stop and talk to you?
To play in Harvard Square?
Yeah.
There's only one memory that I have that's delightful, and it's the children.
Oh.
The children just love passing, and the parent always gives the child the coin to put in the case, and that's when you feel really good.
That is fantastic. Well, tell us about your instruments. What did you bring along tonight?
Well, I noticed from observing your shows, which have been great, you've never had a 12-string, so I brought a 12-string.
Never had a 12-string. Go ahead.
No.
Maybe pull it up on your lap so we can take a quick look at it.
Sure.
And what brand is that?
This is an Epiphone, Gibson bought Epiphone, but I really wouldn't. My guitars that I take pride in are the old ones. This is a 62 Guild D30. I've got a 67 Guild D35 acoustic, and then I've got a 62 Guild T50 electric. It's sort of like a B.B. King type thing with the F-holes and all that.
Wow.
This is a newer 90s guitar, but it is a 12-string that seems to stay in tune. So
Fabulous.
I use it. And since you haven't had one on the show, I figured I'd bring it.
I'm really glad you did. It's a very welcome guest here tonight. And if anybody is interested in hearing you play, you are with a fantastic group called Heavy Weddle. And
Well, the jury's still out on that. We're only a month old. In fact, I agreed to do the show before the band formed, but with their courage, and I really tribute them. Kat Monis, she works at Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody find her. She'll give you your morning coffee. She's the drummer, and she just came out of nowhere. Guy across the street worked in a drumstick factory and gave her 10 sets of drums, and she started drumming every single day. Next thing I know, we got a band.
It happens like that a lot. People always ask, how do bands get formed?
I've always encouraged people to play. In fact, I've run into controversy on Bay Street, living on Bay Street there, because I've had children come in and play. I've had adults who never played before, because I learned late. So why not inspire others to become musicians? And I've always tried to do that, but they don't always sound so sweet, and sometimes the neighbors complain. They shouldn't, because they're good people.
We were talking about some of the locations around town where folks from this area or even further up near Boston can come on down and hear some really, really good Hull music.
Yeah, that's, I think, a missed opportunity in Hull, because it's such a tiny strip, and you have so many places, the Parrot, C-Note, Daddy's Beach Club, Joe's Nautical Bar. I mean, the list just goes on. This beach should be hopping right through the winter, and it's not. You go into one of these pubs during the winter, and it's really difficult. There's not a lot of people. I think, in fact, for that matter, I don't understand why people in the city don't come to Hull during the winter for the beach. Never mind the music, but they can get both still.
So there's a lot of great places down here.
And it's better in the winter in the smaller months because you don't have all the...
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's absolutely glorious here in the winter.
And one thing that's unique,
It's
everybody
beautiful.
does the Friday, Saturday night. My whole life, I never did Friday, Saturday. I always thought Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays were better, because that's when you meet someone and really get to have a conversation with someone. And a lot of the open stages are usually on those nights. And you tend to see musicians who really have a lot to offer that nobody ever heard of, that just come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're like in a whole nother level musically and socially.
Oh yeah, I
So
absolutely
those
agree
off
with
nights are important, and a lot of the pubs here offer that. There's an open stage in almost every environment.
Yeah, so if you're an aspiring musician and you'd like to get a little bit of experience and have a very, very grateful audience, come on down to Hull.
And importantly, your band members don't need to be the perfect professional musician with all the flash and can play Hendrix and all that stuff. All you need is somebody dedicated that wants to play and who's willing to play. And I got on stage last Friday night with a drummer that's been drumming for, I'd say, 365 days a year. She's maybe drummed 200. Not a lifetime of drumming. The bass player just got out, Tony, he's a really cool guy. He just got out of the military after 17 years, and first thing he did was bought a bass because he had one in high school. And all of a sudden, he's on stage, too. Neither one of them had been on a stage for him before. And the C-Note offered them this opportunity to be the rock star.
Well, this is good inspiration for anybody who's really wanting to get started in music, and hey, take a chance, see what happens, follow your dream.
Yeah, I think if you got music in your heart, you're on your way to having a good existence. That's always been my belief. Music more than money. Sometimes you get money from music, but...
Speaking of our hearts, I usually ask my guests if they have some sort of nonprofit for which they'd like to raise awareness, but you had a nice point about what you'd like to say.
It's tough. I don't know that I would want to champion a particular entity. There's so many, and I would say just find the goodness in your soul, and where you find that goodness needed, please help it, push it along.
That is a
Don't
great
ignore
message. Well, we'll take a break and we will come back.
I mean, I could name a whole bunch, but why do that? There's so much people need to do. Best thing to do is live in the spirit of living for others, and that's the best charity.
That's it.
In line with every day is a gift.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back. We'll get to hear Michael Weddle and some of his beautiful music.
Thank you, Cinzi.
And we are back with Michael Weddle of Heavy Weddle and the Bass Cats. Michael Weddle of Hull. And he's going to start us off with a song. What have we got?
I'm impressed you can remember a band that's only 4 weeks old. Thank you for being so nice there. First song I'm going to do is every musician, everybody. I want to hear Stairway to Heaven. So I tried to combine a Stairway to Heaven feel with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And it came out Twinkle, Twinkle, Little One. It's the kind of song you'd sing to a child going to sleep. Or the girlfriend you want to get. Something like that. Let me be your sunshine. I'll shine my star on you. Won't you be my sunshine? Heaven's lights shine on you. Twinkle, twinkle, little one, how I love what you do. In a mighty breath of being, sunrise lifts our sky, as if I'm on a cliff and seeing your beauty from my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, little one, how I love what you do. If I could only reshape the universe to feel the way I do, I would only make the universe to fill with my feelings for you. Twinkle, twinkle, little one, how I love what you do.
Oh, that was really
So
lovely,
soft.
Michael. That was great. What have you got
Put me
for
to
us?
sleep.
I hope not.
Okay, since you said Kubla Khan, I'm not gonna do the whole song. I'm gonna do a couple of verses. This is the song with Samuel Taylor Coleridge. 'Tis a stately pleasure dome I be, surrounded by a sunless sea. Here a deep and sacred river ran, cavern steep, measureless to man. Xanadu, Kubla Khan, Xanadu, Kubla Khan. Under blossomed incense-bearing trees, embroidered form of greenery, there were forests ancient as the hills, gardens bright, sinuous thrills. Xanadu, Kubla Khan, Xanadu, Kubla Khan. Miles and miles and miles of fertile ground, towers tall, while Weddle brown. Here ancestral voices rang, over dancing rocks the sweet siren sang. Xanadu, Kubla Khan, Xanadu, Kubla Khan. Over veins of gold, twilight twine, in the dim of old, her dulcimer shine. Here I'm fed on honeydew, nature's spice. 'Tis here I drink milk of paradise. Xanadu, Kubla Khan, Xanadu, Kubla Khan.
What
ended up doing the whole song.
what a mesmerizing piece. That is amazing.
Yeah, the band opens with that song, so we sort of put
That's-
everybody in a trance if we can.
What I love about your music is that you really use all the colors of sound in the same way a poet uses their words.
It's probably because I have all those old books.
Any chance we can get you to do a number on the 12 string?
Yeah.
Oh, super. Let's see what that
Okay,
sounds
this song, again, I rely on my poet friends. It's called Hear the Poet Sing. So every line of verse is a title to a poem. And the chorus is mine, and you hear some familiar names in the course of the song. It's called Hear the Poet Sing. And one thing that's lacking, usually I had 3 long picks here, but I opened up a 5-gallon bucket. I'm a house painter, if anybody needs a house painted. I broke my picks. So it's with a 12 string, especially, those picks are important. But I'll do it anyway. Do you hear voices from the books? Can you feel the choices poets took? You wind your way in history. Do you know poetry? Turn the page into everything. You will hear the poet sing. Flowers in the granite wall, stars shine in quiet skies. The tide rises, the tide falls, and the night, it has 1,000 eyes. Sun shines on amber light, the progress of spring. She was a phantom delight, flowers I would bring. Do you hear voices from the books? Can you feel the choices poets took? You wind your way in history. Did you learn poetry? Turn the page into everything. You will hear Brother Gideon sing. Shakespeare, Voltaire, Browning, Byron, Whitman, Tennyson, Wordsworth, a Coleridge, rhyme of the ancient mariner, the idols of the king, the curse of Piama, city of the end of things. Lady of Charlotte, the palace of art.
That was terrific.
It's a tough song to do sometimes.
That was great.
This next song is something we all experience. It's the 911 world. There's so many variations of it, whether it's from terrorists to the bully down the street or whatever. You know, there's always that 911 desperation, and we all live in it in varying ways. And so I wrote a song about it. We are living in a 911 world. We are living in a 911 world. Do you know what it's like when your world breaks into fight? Everywhere you turn, nothing seems to be right. And ain't it so sad when things get so bad? Nothing you can do. So much for the hope it won't happen to you. We are living in a 911 world. We are living in a 911 world. And everyone around you, you care for. But some of them, they don't care about you. You try to help, do your best for the good, but it don't work out the way that it should. When you're living in a 911 world. When you're living in a 911 world. Cameras here and there, cell phones everywhere, don't cross the line. The people looking here, the people talking there, care about crime. And don't you know, they will drop the dime. They'll take you away, you will be doing time. When you're living in a 911 world. If you're hidden in a 911 world. The enemy's called he, Navy ships are all she, what's going on? Have we twisted everything around? Don't you hate to hear the siren sound? And oh, how the fear, how the fear, how the fear, the fear, it brings us down. When we're living in a 911 world. When we're living in a 911 world. Do you know what it's like when your world breaks into fight? Everywhere you turn, nothing seems to be right. And ain't it so sad when things get so bad? Nothing you can do. So much for the hope it won't happen to you. When you're living in a 911 world.
Michael Weddle of Hull. You can catch him at the C Note with his band.
Also Daddy's Beach Club on Monday nights. Sometimes we'll be there.
And Daddy's Beach Club. And that's heavy.
Everybody else will have us. We're brand new.
Heavy metal.
All this sounds a little different with the bass and
And the
drums,
bass
too.
cats. Oh, well, thank you so much,
Cinzi,
Michael.
I am so delighted you have created this.
Well,
Thank
it was
you.
great having all of our audience this evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, kiss a musician, and we will see you then.
Keep a smile in front of you. On the blossomed incense-bearing trees, embroidered from greenery. There were forests ancient as the hills, gardens bright, cineras thrills. Xanadu, Kubla Khan, Xanadu.